What is going on, guys? My name is Tefty. Welcome to Dank Talk number 21. We got BlueWestlo here.
Hold up.
And Versus the Stream.
Hey, Ro.
We're going to talk about the video games on the internets.
Ooh, I like to play those.
Yeah, the internets have video games. One game is Destiny. There's a little bit of a news that dropped at This Week at Bungie. That was on Friday.
Drop that news, Tefty. Drop it.
Well, you know, it wasn't on Thursday when it usually drops. It was on Friday, and that's we're gonna be playing Pole Dancer at E3.
Pole Dancer!
Pole
Get
Dancer.
the money. Get your guala ready. Guala.
What do you guys do you guys expect more at E3 for Destiny 2?
I do.
Yeah?
For sure.
I don't expect anything new from the capture event. I expect a lot new when they probably demo it at E3.
Yeah, I expect them, like, what they show us is to be new. What you guys play, probably not new.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like, what everyone who goes to E3, like, say, like the content creators who are going,
Okay.
that get to, like, play it, they're probably not going to play anything different from, like, the event that recently passed. But they're probably going to show us something new, like maybe on Sony's conference.
Oh,
okay,
okay,
show, like,
gotcha.
a small,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like on the
hard show.
conference, they'll probably like show us like maybe like through like some new story mission, or like they'll
European Dead
demo
Zone.
like some of the how
Like, hey,
open
this is what it looks
European
like
Dead
to
Zone
walk in.
is. Yeah, they'll demo like walking through the how much more interesting the world is now. Demo like a random world boss or some
Look,
shit.
these fishes, they have new technology. Look how they swim. It's new technology for fishes.
Yeah, so they'll demo
Fishbone
something.
tech?
I imagine they're going to demo a lot more than they did at the reveal, because that's not really going to be enough to impress like new people from coming in. I think that initial reveal was a lot of saying like, hey, like, we know a lot of you still play Destiny, so like here's a stream that's really for you for the most part. And I mean, and a lot of people who already play Destiny and maybe are not into it anymore, but like here's stuff to get you back into it because it's Destiny 2. It's a different game now. It's better.
Yeah.
But as far as like getting like actually like new people who have never touched Destiny before into the game, they're probably going to demo some pretty like big stuff at E3, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a very big audience.
It is. It's huge.
And I'm sure they know that. And what they showed at the original conference isn't really going to wow people at E3. It'll wow us because I mean,
We're fans.
we
Yeah.
know we're fans.
Yeah, we love it. We
It's
want
going to
more.
wow people who it's going to wow people who played Destiny like the first month and gave up. It's not something that would wow new players, and I'm pretty sure at E3 they know that they have to come with something else a lot cooler.
Yeah, I think that's
Where
more
do
on
you
Sony's side too, because Bungie knows that hey, the people who are playing Destiny, they're gonna get it no matter what. But I think Sony's goal is they want to sell consoles, but they also want to bring back those people who dropped Destiny really fast. There's a lot, like on the first month, there are people all over the internet saying, "I'm not gonna play it. Like, I'll wait for a sequel or something." And I think this is a great chance to bring those people back and bring new players. So it's Sony's opportunity to do that, to sell consoles and stuff.
So do you think they're going to drop this, whatever the information is? Do you think it's going to be at the Sony conference?
I do, yeah.
I think it's pretty much guaranteed to be at Sony just because of how much Sony has a hand in the pod.
Their marketing and everything. Like, they've done it every time. When they show Taken King, it was at Sony's, right?
Yeah, you're right.
They show Destiny gameplay for the first time, it was at Sony's.
There's no reason to believe that they just stopped being buddy with Sony, because Sony realistically has an incredible amount of trust in them sponsoring these events. Essentially, even at the reveal, they supplied all the PS4s that you played on. Yeah, so it's clear that Sony really wants it to say, yeah, I played Destiny 2 on the PS4 at the reveal. Because that's what you're going to say. Yeah, it was on PS4. It's PS4. They got to get it in your head. You get PS4, Destiny, PS4.
PS4.
They love it. Destiny, PS4. So there's no reason to believe they're going to stop, because all throughout Destiny 1, the beta was started on
First
PS4
on PlayStation.
early.
First on PlayStation.
And then the alpha was only PS4, right?
Yep, it was.
So they're probably going to keep doing it. I mean, PS4, Sony clearly has a pretty good relationship with Bungie, and Bungie appreciates that relationship. They're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly with Activision too. Like they have a good it's with because Activision, they have a deal with their Call of Duty as well. Sony gets all the Call of Duty stuff
Activision
first.
is full on with Sony.
Activision. Yeah. So it's Activision saying, hey, these guys are helping us a lot. It's time to play buddy buddy and get to just showing something really nice at their conference.
We want your consoles to play our game, and Sony's like, oh, dude, like, what an honor! I would have never expected this.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Of course, we're not going to give you consoles, dude. What are you crazy?
Everyone, check under your seats. There's a Destiny 2 themed PlayStation 4 Pro.
Whoa, my God!
With the PS4 logo on the top right.
Oh my gosh, that'd be pretty nuts. Well, okay, so that makes sense. If we see some sort of information that's maybe the other gameplay that we haven't seen, but is related to hook people into the new experience that Destiny 2 is going to be.
Yeah. With a new trailer.
I'm expecting them. I mean, obviously, we're going to get probably a new trailer. I'm also really expecting them to dive deeper into the worlds because they really sold exploration in that stream.
They did,
They spent a really long time talking about how much you're going to get to explore. So I'm expecting that's what they're going to sell us with at E3.
Yeah,
and a lot of new people because like open world games are gigantic right now. Like they're the standard.
They really are.
Zelda just came out. Zelda just came out. Mass Effect spent so much time talking about the worlds to explore. Horizon had a really, really dope open world. Open world games are here right now.
Yeah, it's like
so I'm sure Bungie wants to.
It's a renaissance of open world gaming right now, which is really good. So hopefully, Destiny 2 does actually deliver on those statements that they talked about.
Deliver in the way Destiny didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they'll show us the dungeon for the first time. They'll be like, "Hey, this is what you can expect when you explore one of those sector places."
Oh, the lost sectors. Oh my God.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Do you really want to see that?
Nope.
No, I don't want to see very much.
But it's Bungie though. Bungie loves showing us more than we want.
But maybe it's changed.
They might have learned though.
Yeah, I think they might have learned.
They learned.
I think they learned, like based off of their first stream a couple weeks ago. I think they have learned, honestly, like by like giving us little by little, not too much. So I hope so. I think that'd be really dope. Like it would be cool for them to explore a little bit and be like, hey, what's that? Then it cuts off and like, hey, thanks for being on stage. I love like.
That was
imagine car coming down, dude. Imagine like they'd be like, hey, what's that in the sky? Like a world boss comes down and
it's an car. Oh my god.
The section ends. Yeah, like it just ends and the guy's like, hey, thank you, Destiny 2 coming. Yeah, everyone clap for that. Yeah.
Yo, guys, give a hand for Bungie. They've been working so hard.
That'd be so sick. You just see some sort of like mystical thing. You have to fight, fall from the sky into world boss.
That would be pretty sick. I would freak out over that if I saw that. That would get me like, oh my god, yeah, Pog champs for days.
I do the faces they do in Friday the 13th when they get scared.
Fuck Chad. Oh, Chad.
Yeah, I'll do the Chad. Oh I'll do the Chad. Oh,
the Chad. Oh my god. Well, it's exciting. I'm very much looking forward to it because we got like basically a week or so before this information is going to start dropping.
Because it starts next Sunday, right? Next Sunday. Yeah. Is it next? No.
Yeah.
This is Sunday after next Sunday.
No, it's next Sunday. It
starts June 11th.
Yeah, it's next Sunday. Yeah, it's June 3rd right now.
Yeah, it's next week.
This Friday is the 6th, though.
Yeah. Wait,
what?
Because Microsoft starts their conference on a Sunday, which is like June 11th or 10th.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, next week.
Is it next week?
That's next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
Oh my god.
Dude, okay, think about 8 days from now. Sunday's tomorrow for us. 8 days from now is the
Microsoft conference.
Microsoft conference on Sunday, and then PC Gamer Conference, and then Sony Conference on Monday. And then everybody's going to be sharing footage on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
No.
Yep, YouTube's going to be crazy. The YouTube and Twitter's is going to be crazy for a good week.
It's going to be blowing up. And then Guardian Con is at the end of the month. Crazy.
Yup.
Madness.
That's madness, right?
June too good.
Woo. June is going to be power-packed. And then hopefully we're going to get that beta in the middle of July. So it's nice, perfect time, buttered up.
Do you really think they're going to do that whole 777 thing, or they'll be earlier?
I think it's no, I don't think it's going to be July 7th because July 7th is notoriously a Bungie day where their employees get to do stuff for them. You know, it's not about like, hey, let's support the game in a way or release a beta that's going to have everybody on deck to make sure their software doesn't crash. It's usually a day for the company itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I think July 17th makes a lot of sense. It's in the middle of July. It gives them enough time to test the network to see how much potato is still in those connections. which let's be honest, there might be a lot. And then we get to experience
it. They don't do it during E3, then I'll go with your 17th.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it at E3, and here's why. They don't need to capture that audience right now. They've already got the core base, so what they need to do is get hype going, and if they showed off, like you said, some sort of teaser trailer that really hit home that open world exploration type of thing, along with people seeing Arc Strider out in the world, then that would whet people's appetite, and then July comes around. If you haven't pre-ordered yet, then you got to pre-order to get the access to the beta. Boom. And then obviously we're 2 months away then at that point, or a month and a half away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Which, by the way, we're 3 months away right now, guys. Just over 3 months.
That's insane. Time's going to fly. Like, time flies. We were just now, it feels like last podcast we were talking about the Destiny 2 reveal. And now it's June, it's about to be E3.
Exactly.
So
insane.
Tomorrow we're going to be playing Destiny 2.
That's right. It's Destiny 3 tomorrow.
Destiny 9, man.
Destiny 9. So, moving on from Destiny, there's a game that came out recently that was in beta.
Lego Marvel. I'm just playing.
This game has gotten very popular on Twitch and has been crapped all over by the critics, which is always interesting when that happens because it has to do with fun versus mechanics and executables. Or making the game work. We're talking about Friday the 13th.
Boom, boom, boom.
Jason is coming for that booty. Have you guys all played it?
It's a fun. We all played it for sure.
Yes.
Blue. I think Blue's played it the least out of both of us though.
Because he's basically.
I played it. Well, how much have you played it? Like how many hours? Give me an hour count.
Me, I probably played close to 20 to 30.
What the heck, Tefty?
Yeah, I'm in like the 15 to 20 range.
Okay, I've probably only played like 4 or 5 hours, so.
You hardly unlocked any characters.
Do I really need to unlock characters?
Yes, they have better stats.
Well, I think that's
the
flawed.
Stats, man.
Dude, the stats are huge, man.
The stats
but it's okay
are
in Dead by Daylight.
Okay, here's the thing though with me. Dead by Daylight was a lot of fun without having anything. And I feel like when I played Friday the 13th, I'm not allowed to have fun till I get more stuff.
Really?
I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah, I don't think that's true at all.
Well, it's not true for you, but for me, it's true. Because that's what I was. I mean, I just don't.
Well,
like you guys are talking about how the stats matter, right? So
obviously
they
do.
Matter.
They matter when you're playing with people who like a good Jason is going to be like the stats are going to help if you're playing against a good Jason.
For me personally, I had a lot of fun with this whole genre of game with a survival against like one super beast type game. I think it's probably the only game I just haven't really like gotten the hype for it, to be honest, when I played it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
But okay. Did you play with the full team?
Yeah, he played with the majority of full team, but
we even did the RP. The RP was fun, but I felt like the game itself was not as strong as the fun RP.
I think it's also flawed because you haven't even fully experienced the game. Because every time we played it, you seem to like have died pretty early on when we don't really have anything going yet. And
well, that's only one session. That's probably only like an hour of my experience of the game.
Oh yeah, because like I feel like the game, it's one of those games where it wants you to loot. You need to start looting, and that your first 10 minutes of the game, it's like looting while trying to escape from Jason. And then after you loot, it's all about communication. Hey, what do you guys got? How are we gonna do this? What kind of plans you guys got? What items do you have that we can use to lure Jason while we do this and that to escape? So I feel like there's so many different values that go into it that it's understandable why a lot of people will have different experiences. Because I've had I've had really bad experiences, and I've also had really good experiences of the game due to like how much time I put into it.
Yeah, communication coordinating with other players when you're a counselor is huge. It's like 50% of the game. If you don't have game chat on, and you're like if you're using Discord instead of game chat, or let's say
I hate you.
PSN party. Yeah, it cuts out 50% of the game right there because you get dumped out. Let's say you're alone. Suddenly you're hunting. You're in a house. Let's say Jason shows up. You can actually like talk to Jason. Be like, no, man, don't. I even sold out. I sold everybody out.
I think everyone's done that before.
I was like, if you leave me alone, I'll tell you where everybody is on the map. So I've sold out my fellow counselors. Yeah. And when you get better at it too, when you get better at the game, then you know how to deal with Jason a little bit longer. So you don't automatically die from Jason. So it's a big part of it. Like being like when you find somebody,
sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. When you find somebody else and you're using the game chat, it's like, yo, what's going on? What do we have? And if they have a radio, they can communicate with other people on radio. If they have parts that you're looking for, it's a really interesting social experiment, honestly.
It's awesome, man. I think the power, like, it uses it, like, the way I see it is there's like, depending on what people have, you want to sacrifice certain things. So say, for example, so okay, Tefty has the gas, Blue has the battery, and this guy has the keys. I don't have either of those, and I'm using a character that doesn't have really good stats in terms of like repairing and installing that stuff. So I'm going to sacrifice myself, try to buy you guys some time, take his attention, fight him and stuff like that. You guys do that, and that's huge. Like, there's people who like to play solo, like Lone Wolf, and which can go both ways. You can live for yourself, call the cops, leave, or you can play together and try to get a car working, get a boat working, fight Jason, do what's almost impossible, and kill Jason, which requires a lot of steps.
Insane amount of steps.
And it's really fun. Like, there's so many different things that can go on because you're playing with different people, and it just, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a different experience every time. Unless it's one of those matches where I die within the first 2 minutes, then I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully you come back as Tommy Jarvis.
Oh yeah, the Tommy. Which people don't understand. He's a support character. People will come back as Tommy and assume they have a second life, where Tommy's actually built. Because you died, you don't get as many points for escaping. So your goal as Tommy is to help the others escape before you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're made for as a support character, and people don't do that. A lot of people, when I'm in quick play, they'll come back and just be by themselves. They'll protect themselves and just leave when the cops come. And I'm like, oh, okay, you have a gun and you're not gonna help nobody. That's cool.
Yeah, I left with a gun.
Oh boy, have you betrayed anyone yet? Have you like shot any counselor?
I did it by accident, and it wasn't shooting. It was. I was slashing at Jason, but he had already picked up another counselor and it hit him. It hit the counselor and killed her.
Yeah, that happens. I feel like that happens way too much. Like, this game has a lot of bugs, and I love the game. Like, if they ever listen to this podcast, like, I love Friday the 13th, but it feels like an unfinished game. Like, it honestly feels like a game that they like. I know the team is small, but that's not a good excuse in my opinion. Like, there are so many bugs in this game. And there's so many things that need to be balanced and reworked, because I've seen so many people betray others by accident because the shotgun has this crazy spread where if one little pellet touches your toe, you betray your team. Like, your guy just dies.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things that need to be fixed. And I shot these people, and like, there was a car, and they got into the car, and I shot them to try to betray one of them because I wanted room for myself. And what ended up happening is, I guess, the momentum of their body going in the car and my shot the car into the sky, brought the car back down, stretched everyone's hair really weird, and the car was unusable. Like, no one was able to use the car. So we're like, okay, we just ruined it for everybody. It's like, how does that happen? Like, how did you guys?
Thanks, Versus. Thanks for shooting the car and removing it from the physics world.
I shot the door when they were opening it. As soon as they opened the car, I shot the person, and the car flies away. And I'm like, wait, what? So there's just a lot of bugs.
I had a similar experience.
Like, wow.
I was driving the car and like being very careful and backing up, and then immediately flipped over, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Tefty's the worst driver ever! Unbelievable! Can't believe this."
The car's hard to drive. It's so hard to drive.
Yeah, but that's intentional. Oh my! Because it's a horror game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course. And there's also perks that can help you with that too, which is pretty cool. The perk system is awesome in my opinion.
Yeah,
how it takes like a random perk, puts like a random like attribute to them. That's really cool. But you said that reviewers are giving it like terrible reviews. So like, exactly, like, what were they saying? Like, what were they talking about that makes it so bad?
Some of it, I feel like some of them just didn't really play with a full group, or get into some games where they got into the communication side of it. Like, they approached it from a technical side, and yeah, from the technical merits. And if you just look at this game on paper without the theme of Friday the 13th on it, it would definitely not be good. You'd be like, I don't know. It's a lot of bugs, and gameplay can be slow here and there. It's just, I don't think this would work. But then when you play it with friends, or people who are actually like into the communication side of it, and you have the spooky music and the whole experience of Jason and like these awful murders that happen, it's an incredible experience. It's an incredible game. So these reviewers, I feel like they completely miss that side of it and don't account for it at all. Where like, hey, you can have a ton of fun either playing or watching this game, but we're going to give it like 4 out of 10.
Yeah. And it's like I understand it, like you said, the technical point of like, it's terrible. Like, there's a lot of glitches. Every time I play solo queuing on quick play, I'm put into a team full of Russians, and people from across the world, and it's bad for me because they're all speaking their native tongue, and I'm trying to communicate in English, and all they do is curse at me and say, you know, F America, da da da. I'm like, wait, why am I not being put into a similar region? Why do I have 300 ping? Why does everyone have 999 ping? What is that?
That's weird.
That doesn't make any sense to me. So there's a lot of technical things wrong with it. And the first week it came out, but can we bring up the fact that it wasn't working for a lot of people from both Xbox, PS4, and PC?
Yeah.
The game just wasn't working at all. People couldn't connect to the servers because they expected like 30,000 people and supposedly 75,000 people tried to get on.
Yeah.
So
that's a huge
There's
increase.
a lot of issues with the game, but it's a fun experience.
So that is my issue with the game, is everything you guys are talking about. There's a lot of like barriers to entry on it. Which is why I've pretty much already lost interest in it and might give it another chance, but I'm pretty much at the point where I don't really care about it. So it's pretty much already lost me, and I think that's the issue a lot of people have already had. I couldn't even play the game for the first like 4 games because I didn't get to play with my friends because there were so many different people that like got kicked out of the game essentially and couldn't even play it.
Yeah, so we had friends that couldn't get in.
So that was already one thing. I was like, okay, well that's pretty trash, but whatever. So that sucked. So then as the days went on, I was like, okay, this is pretty trash. Like now I'm worried. So then I did play the game, and it was fun to RP with people. The one time I did get to play with our whole group, it was like, I guess the strongest point of the game wasn't really fun for me. When they say, oh, well, just, you know, play with your whole group. And I was like, okay. Well, I died early, which is apparently it is what it is. Like you die early, and then you watch other people fight each other, and it's cool and it's fun. But the strongest part of the game I had probably the least fun with. It wasn't until I actually played with like maybe like 2 or 3 other people or solo queued where it was okay. But at that point, after I had solo queued for like 2-3 hours, I was like, okay, well, I've kind of already, I can already feel like I'm playing this game as a chore at this point. So in that regard, all those barriers to entry you guys are talking about, the glitches, the issue with Jason being a little too strong, sometimes eventually down the road you get some cool perks to make it easier to deal with him. All that stuff has just kind of made it to the point where it's already lost me. And I'm not really in a point where I really like. I know people are going to say, oh, well, you should give it another chance. Like, well, you guys are saying you're having fun. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, you guys are having a good experience. But for me, it's like, like, if I were to go back to it, I would be forcing myself to go back to it, and that's not why I play video games.
Well, okay, that's understandable, 100%. I will say, in a full group, if you are the first one to die, that's usually the least interesting, unless you come back as Tommy Jarvis. Also, if you're playing in a full group, it's sometimes good to have a rule to say that Jason doesn't kill anybody until like a couple minutes have passed. That way people can kind of get built up. Because an interesting Jason to go against is one that doesn't just like left button click spam. Like you want a Jason that is trying to go for kills that are interesting kills, and that can affect the experience also. From what I've seen, you should give it another shot, Blue. Just give it another shot with like a fun group and see how you feel afterwards.
We had a fun group.
Yeah, but you said you died. You said you died right away.
First every time.
Yeah, you said you died right away, and then also you had a bunch of
right away. There was
changing the tune now. Are you, Blue? You said you died right away. You said you died.
Well, don't put words in my mouth, big guy. I said I died fairly early. There was probably only one game I died immediately first.
Okay.
So out of that, and then we played like 4 games total. So the other 3 games, I still got a pretty all right experience with the RPing, because the RPing is probably the only saving grace of this game for me, to be honest.
I mean, that is a big aspect of it. Well, I think,
which at the end of the day does kind of come down to your group, which is why I can see why the reviewers give it poor scores, because it's like, okay, well, not every group is gonna be creative with how you play it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the experience can be extremely different. So while I know you guys don't agree with the reviews, I can 100% see why it's justifiable for them to give it such low scores.
Yeah, it's understandable. Like you said, like I feel like the experience does change per lobby. You can have a lobby where everyone's completely quiet, but they're gods of the game. So you guys do what you got to do. Or you can also have an experience where everyone's bad at the game, everyone's yelling, having a good time, and it's less about what you're doing in the game and just the fact that you're doing it together and just laughing and oh my god, like please stop, like Jason, no, like stuff like that. Is just makes it really fun. Like there's always new people playing, and there's always like different Jason, and it's always really fun. Like everyone has their own different play style, and I think that's what adds to it.
Yeah, I think that's also an interesting thing too. When you're playing with the same group and somebody randomly gets selected as Jason, it adds a really interesting flavor into that type of genre. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, and I haven't played too much Dead by Daylight, but the reason why I like this, like for Dead by Daylight, I played like an hour total, and the majority of that was like helping, like when Blue did a video of it a while back, which you guys can watch youtube.com/BlueWestlo, and it's the game was cool. Like it's one of those things where it was fun with friends, but I just didn't have fun turning on generators for an entire match. That's all I did: turn on generators and avoid a guy who can just kill me like easily. At least in like when it came to Friday the 13th, Jason's super OP. And I do think he needs rebalancing, but I do like how they give you so many different ways and options to evade him, to fight back, to group up on him, to escape. Like there's so many different ways you can handle situations in the game. I think that's what's really awesome about it. It's not just find a really good cheese spot and keep going back and forth, because Jason can change that. He can put traps, he can break the glass, which make it difficult to go through windows because you take damage. So I feel like there's just so many different ways to tackle on situations in that game, and it makes it so much fun. Like it feels like I'm playing something. It feels like I'm playing the same thing over again, but not at the same time. Like it feels like it's different over and over again, depending on who's playing with you.
For me, the reason Dead by Daylight is so much more fun is the core experience is a lot more visceral and dynamic. Whereas in Friday the 13th, it's kind of you find everything and then you kind of figure out how you want to escape, which is cool because you have a lot of options in how you want to play the game. But I feel like those options are built around like a kind of boring premise of, oh, hide from Jason. If you come across Jason, you're pretty much dead. Whereas in Friday the 13th, or in Dead by Daylight, Jesus Christ, I can't even. These are all the same games now. I can't figure it out. Whereas in Dead by Daylight, a lot of it was a little more psychological. It was a lot more fun to be scared of something. You knew that you could escape, but it was like, okay, at what point? Okay, do I save my friends or do I just run off and do more generators, come back to get around to get them? Okay, well, if we're all going to escape, well, how are we going to do it? Okay, well, now there's this trap door if there's one person's left. I feel like
that sounds like the same game, though.
Yeah,
it was a lot
that's the
easier
same
to have,
experience though that you have in Friday the 13th. If you
but
understand,
it's not really the same experience.
Well, it's because
a lot of different ways.
It's because we understand the mechanics of Friday the 13th, and you're like, while you kind of understand them, they're still kind of like blurry, so you don't really feel like.
Well, that's why. Well, that's the point. That's the point. Is the mechanics are a lot easier to immediately grasp in Dead by Daylight, which is why I had so much more fun with it. That's the reason why I found Dead by Daylight to be so much more fun than Friday the 13th.
It's already there. Like the mechanics are like, it's simple. It's like, this is what you do.
It's simple, and I can get into the entire premise of the game. Whereas with Friday the 13th, it's like, okay, well, it's already lost me. Like, I'm not really interested anymore.
Did you guys find it interesting that Dead by Daylight just got announced for console, like this week?
Oh, did it? Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just, the physical release is actually coming to console, which is very interesting. It's like, hey, let's take advantage of Friday the 13th having issues. Let's go ahead and push this game that's already, good to go.
Hopefully it doesn't have issues on their end.
I hope so. A game being that old, I hope doesn't have issues.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Blue, I mean, that is completely understandable. Like, and I do get that. I know that Dead by Daylight also is more, I think, faster. More of a, like you said, the visceral experience. It's a
lot faster too. That's my issue with Friday the 13th is it's very slow.
Yeah, Friday the 13th is guaranteed 20 minutes if it goes to time. So it's like maximum 20 minutes type of session. And there's also 8 people total. So like 8 people can possibly die because Tommy Jarvis can come back and all that. So it takes a little bit of time in that sense. But all those things that you're talking about is actually in Friday the 13th as well. You just have to.
I know that. I'm just saying with the barriers to entry, like I talked about earlier, make it harder to appreciate that.
Yeah. I totally get that. I just wanted to point out that there's actually a lot more nuance.
No. That's what I've been saying from the start. I have no doubt that there's a much better experience in it. I just haven't had it, and I am at the point where I'm kind of like,
yeah, you lost interest.
Which is why we want you to try again, because we want you to have that experience.
I'm not saying there's like not a good experience in it. Like this entire time, I pretty much said the same thing. It's like, I mean, I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun with it, which is dope. I just haven't.
You haven't had it yet. I feel you. I feel you, man.
You haven't had it yet. So let's say yet. Come on, man. Come on.
My goodness. Well, it's Friday the 13th. I've enjoyed it. Abs enjoyed it. Blue hates it. So,
what's happening in Paragon?
What's happening in Paragon?
Oh, Paragon! Speaking of a game that finally got balanced properly, Paragon is so good right now. Please go play it. Summit 1G was playing it, and he's like apparently become a crack addict to it, which is pretty nice too. And then I guess Lyric tried it again. Paragon is also one of those games that has the issue where the barrier to entry is kind of confusing. But that's kind of the issue with every MOBA. Like, every MOBA doesn't really do a good job of teaching you how to play a MOBA. I don't think I've ever come across like a MOBA that's really taught you how to do it properly.
Yeah.
We talked about that last time, right? We talked about like it's even worse now because of the whole daily thing.
Yeah, and they're innately complicated. It's a really
big issue. Yeah, it's a really big issue because it's innately complicated, and Paragon is still like fixing a lot of stuff, so it's a lot harder to prioritize teaching people. So you load up the game, you do the tutorial, and it's like, okay, cool. Now you can play with 3 characters for the next week. Okay, like, I don't know why this is there, but whatever. But if you get past that, the core gameplay of it is a lot of fun. And when you load up your first game, I mean, it's a really cool experience just because of how unique it is of a MOBA. There's just no other MOBA exactly like it. So, getting past what I've already talked about, it kind of has a similar issue of Friday the 13th where it could potentially lose you really quickly. But it has such interesting gameplay, and it's so
satisfying. The gameplay is satisfying.
It's so satisfying because of how familiar a lot of people are with the style of games that Epic Games make. Like, the shooting mechanics are all there. Like, you're running around with your character, so you feel powerful the second you load in. You shoot these minions, and the fighting in the game is just so satisfying that I think that's one of the biggest things that brings people back, is because the team fighting is so satisfying in Paragon compared to other MOBAs, because you feel a lot more in tune with the character you're controlling, whereas with other MOBAs, a lot of the time my issue was I'm in control of this cool like avatar that I can like move around and shoot stuff with. Whereas in Paragon, it's like, okay, I'm playing as this character. Like, this is my character. I'm really attached to this character. You know, like when what's like Destiny, you're attached to your Guardian because you get to customize them and do all this cool shit with them, and your Guardian's powerful. And it's like, God, I'm a raider, I'm a PvP god, I'm a Guardian, dude. We're Guardians. So they've done a lot of good stuff to make the game a lot better. It comes with the issues that I was talking about Friday the 13th. There's a lot of weird barrier to entries that can totally lose you. But if you do find that you enjoy it, you're gonna spend a lot of time on it. And they just came out with an extremely broken hero called FaZe, who is extremely broken and nobody likes her.
She's like,
they have a new character coming out this Tuesday, right?
But they also have another character coming out this Tuesday as well. So they do this thing where it's every 3 weeks they come out with a new hero. They've obviously had these heroes pre-planned very early in advance to kind of come out gradually. So this new hero has been in every single MOBA ever, Wukong, the Monkey King. So Paragon decided to take their turn with it, which a lot of people were like, like, be original, but at the same time, I'm not like crazy about, because like, well, I mean, he's like in literally every MOBA. Like, at this point, it's a MOBA tradition. Like,
his design's the most unique, though, in my opinion. Like,
he has a very, very cool design. And I think Paragon is really starting to hit their stride on unique heroes as far as like
their character design's
gameplay.
Fantastic, honestly.
So with a couple of weeks ago, they came out at this point a month ago with Revenant, who was like a space cowboy demon killer dude, and he has a really, really satisfying kit for new players because he has like this crazy burst ability that shoots like a bunch of like rockets at people, like demon rockets. And it's like, oh, this is badass. I'm doing so much damage. Oh my God. He has this gun that when you fire 4 shots, it has to reload.
That reload. Oh, that reload's so good.
It's so cool. And then he has like damage boosting abilities. His ultimate is literally like a duel. So when you right click, so cool. What's the word? I'm blanking out.
It sends you to like another dimension. You guys into your own personal dimension.
It sends you to another dimension
where
you have to
switch.
Yes, 1-2 switch. It sends you to the 1-2 switch dimension.
Yeah, and only you can see each other. Like, no one else can like see you fighting him. Like, it's like, who's he fighting? What's he doing? Cool. Why did he just pop? Oh my God!
So, and then they just came out with this other character called FaZe, and she is a really unique support. She's like a healer, but she has this ability where if you're pushed too far up, if she has her tether on you, she could pull you back to where she is, or she could pull you forward to where she wants to pull you. So it's a very like a playmaking support type hero. So they're coming out with a lot of like really, really cool hero kits right now, and I think that's why so many people are taking an interest in the game, because the past 4 something heroes have been such cool designs.
To get off track for a second, and a similar thing, like wouldn't it be cool if Destiny, you know how Destiny 2 is going with the whole like choose your ability thing and that what fits what's going on. What if, because they haven't showed the void the void hunter yet. What if the void bow now had an option to be support? So instead of tethering the enemies, you tether your teammates kind of thing, and it's just like
that'd be sick.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Like a DP, like a Risa's DPS boost.
Yeah, and like it boosts you guys, but then the hunter can also pull you in. Like, hey, I'm about to die, pull me, and you just pull me back and get safe. That'd be so sick.
Yo, that'd be crazy. Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
So imagine that in Paragon, because that's what you have with FaZe. She can pull you out of bad situations, or if you're like way in the back and trying to get into a fight, she can pull you into the fight.
That's cool.
And then she's very like a pocket healer who can also throw you into
like
situations.
The Ana of Paragon.
Or she'll keep you on a leash if you're being stupid. Like an angry chihuahua, she has to keep you on her
why are you dying so much here? Have this buff.
And then again, moving into interesting character designs, they're coming out with Wukong this Tuesday, and his kit is a lot more unique than the other Wukong heroes and other MOBAs mostly because of how open and dynamic Paragon's gameplay is. Whereas with other MOBAs, it's very like top down. You move a hero in this direction and you use an ability. Paragon has a lot of opportunities with like the verticality and dimension and movement. Paragon has a lot more freedom of movement compared to other MOBAs, which is another reason why a lot of people, I guess, are getting into it, because it's just very different. So with Wukong, he takes advantage of, I think a lot of what makes Paragon so cool. One of his abilities is just like normal CC for a hero. He has a staff which can push people away. So he can push people into targets. He can push people into team fights. He has an ability where when he jumps, he basically airwalks into the sky. So he can airwalk over, I guess, certain people. Imagine like in a team fight. Okay, so you have like tanky in the front line, and you need to take out like the DPS, the other carry in the back line, because if your team doesn't have any damage, they're not going to win a team fight. Wukong could skywalk literally into the sky, into their back line, and kill their carry, which is risky, but at the same time, it's a really cool opportunity to make outplays and get hype and esports.
It just opens the game up more, which is really
cool. It opens the game up a lot more.
It's interesting.
And probably the coolest part of his kit is that he has different stances. So that's just one stance. When he pushes people into others, and when he does his airwalk, that's just one ability. That's just one set of abilities, essentially, because he could swap stances. He could swap stance from offense to defense. So his defensive stance changes those abilities to completely different things. So it's very high skill hero, I guess. But it's really unique, and I think that's what sets Paragon apart. Like when you look at Paragon, it doesn't seem very unique when you look at it. It's like, oh, it's Gears of War, the MOBA, like, oh, whatever. And then when you look at the heroes, it's like, oh, like they're not like that cool design. Revenant was dope though. But when you actually play the hero and play the kits, it's like, man, like this is extremely satisfying.
That's
and
cool.
I think that is the biggest strength of Paragon, is the actual gameplay. And they finally gotten like a better sense of balance too. So I would highly recommend it right now. If you're not into MOBAs, but you like
that
shooters,
good sound of cracking one open.
If you like, cracking open one with the boys. So if you're not into MOBAs, but you've always maybe like had a little interest in MOBAs, but also like kind of like shooting shit, then Paragon's a game for you.
I mean, the more you talk about it, the more interest I have.
I think you should definitely try it. I think it'd be a fun session for the three of us to like play it and just have a good time. Because you could play AI, you can play against PvP, against players, or you can play against the AI, and that's honestly, I'll play a lot of that too, and it's really fun.
Yeah, I always like it when games give you that option. That way, like you just want to like test out some things, play against some AI.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Yeah, when it's testing Dex as well. Dex, that's probably the system that keeps the most people out of Paragon right now, is the Dex system. It's play to win right now, which is a problem, where the more you play, the more cards you get. So the more cards you have, the better decks you have.
Which I'm suffering right now because I can't make like really good builds for the new characters I want to play as.
It definitely has a problem of play to win. A lot of people say, oh, it's pay to win, but it's not pay to win. It is play to win. The more you play, the better
stuff you
cards
get.
You have. Yeah, which is unfortunate. But again, it's in early access, so hopefully eventually they figure it out.
It's cool. Like I said, it does make me interested to play more. Or I mean, actually get into it and try it out.
Oh, I'll give you something to play.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness!
So Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 next week.
Tefty.
You're going to E3.
I'm going E3. Yep.
With so many people. So I want to like. I always
going to E3.
I'm gonna be vlogging.
I always want to go, and I'll vlog it. They'll give me a shout. I'll be like, "Yo, Ab, live through me vicariously right now. I'm missing you," because I always wanted to go. And like, I think I'd be happy to go at least once in my life. Of course, if it's for like content creating purposes, that'd be dope. But like me, like I just as an attendee, I'd love to go there just once in my life because I've been watching E3 and like staying up to date with it since I was a kid, and like I've always wanted to go. Man, yeah, have a good time.
God damn, Tefty, have a good time.
I'm in the same position. I haven't been to E3 before, so this will be my first time. So I'm excited about that. Just because I've
you probably get to skip lines too. Like, yo, I'm a streamer. I'm a content creator.
I don't know if they do that.
What's up?
I don't know if you can like flash.
I know.
Something.
I've heard lines are really long. I've heard like you have to actually like. I'm assuming this is for people who don't really have like the connections. But you would have to like designate. All right, this day I'm gonna play this one big game because the lines are that long.
Really? Wow.
It's insane. Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
And they're opening to the public this year. This year they the public buy passes.
So it might be even crazier.
That should be interesting. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, next podcast, next week, we're going to talk about what's coming to E3. So we can kind of dig a little bit more on that.
That's to be fun and what we speculate and what we want to see at E3.
And then maybe we can also hear more about this new hero that came out from Paragon, guys. Because it's coming out this week.
I'm gonna play it this week for sure.
Yeah, nice.
I'll ask Blue, like, yo, Blue, you want to play something? You want to play? And then Blue's gonna be like, oh.
You just dangle that carrot in front of Blue's face. My God. All right. Well, I think that's a podcast, guys. Thank you very much for listening.
Is it?
I think so, right? My name is Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter.com/Teft. Catch the streams I do, twitch.tv/Tefty Teft, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and obviously the YouTube.
The YouTube, which is Tefty Teft. Hey, how you doing? And I'm VersusTheStream. You guys can talk to me on Twitter at VersusTheStream. And you guys can catch my daily streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/VersusTheStream at 9 a.m. Eastern. And you guys can check out my YouTube content at youtube.com/VersusTheInternet.
My name is BlueWestlo. You can peep me at twitter.com/BlueWestlo, as well as youtube.com/BlueWestlo. And finally, twitch.tv/BlueWestlo. Where you can catch me streaming Tefty's gluten adventures.
Gluten-filled adventures.
The gluten-free adventures. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next week, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye.